What happens to all of our thoughts over the course of our life? What do you think, Zoli?
Oh, what do I think about what I think, what we think? So, here as a research analyst, my opinion on this, not knowing, is I pull from Rosicrucianism, from Theosophy, the Benjamin Creme work, Maitreya work, all that. From what I understand, run this by your filter. Thoughts seek becoming real because everything we see around us, I thought of this a couple years ago, and I'm sure it's not original, but everything that I see was a thought. It was made first as a thought. And how does it get created? Well, we manufacture it. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere, usually. But in my understanding, thoughts are electromagnetic. And a lot of them can come from the exosphere and beyond. That's what I think. I'm curious if we have any original thought at all. But they're electromagnetic. And it's something that is from the brain and the mind. I don't think thoughts come from the astral realm. They have to translate into a different part of the brain. I don't know which. I'm not a doctor or a counselor or a therapist. I don't know. But it's a full body experience after a while. These thoughts, it's like they gain molecules, they gain emotion. And then we run it by, is it safe? Is it not? Is it something that I want? It's said that when we are about late fourth degree initiates, maybe after, we have to pull back our thoughts. We have to recall all of that. How do you do that? I have no idea. Oh my God. I can't even call back a thought from, I mean, how do you do that? What do you do with it? You dematerialize it because I think they become things and we do have to observe our thoughts because they will affect us emotionally. What do you think about that?
It's interesting to me, and as you're talking, it's making me consider that if we were more aware of our thoughts, then we would choose thoughts that more align with our values.
Ah, perfect, perfect. So what the Maitreya work says is, and this is an old theosophical thing, probably in other religions, ideally, when we think something and then say honestly, flow what we're thinking, and then we do what we said, that's this congruence, and it flows with grace and with dignity into reality. So I think the value system connects with that because we will want to manifest, we want to make real on the physical plane things that mirror what we believe. I doubt that we wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to go to some place I totally disagree with and have a wonderful time. Duh. Well, we kind of do that sometimes anyway. But I think the congruency of thought is sacrosanct.
Yes, and it's a reminder that those negative thoughts that float in and out, those things that we don't even want, that we dwell on, maybe if we didn't dwell so much on those thoughts that we don't want, we could focus more on better thoughts.
Oh, that is so true. I really fight with that. Maybe artists do. I don't think my husband with operator consciousness said boys' brains are different. I'm sorry if it insults anybody, but there are huge 600 differences between male and female. Just deal with it. His brain is different than mine. I'm bathed in different hormones and I have neurological things that are different. So I will go straight to nurturing and to safety and to looking to those around us. And what if my thoughts are calm? Then I can get more from higher realm. There is such a grace and a delicacy to that. When we are calm and we're feeling and our thoughts are reacting and responding to that, that's a dance. And it's to a specific kind of music, and the music is your value system. What do you value?
So how do you find the right music for you? How do you know what you value?
Oh. I think, first of all, it comes from how we were raised. And for good or ill, we might value things that are just awful for us. We really might. Not everybody had a great childhood, but we are adult children, or we are acting out what we were taught and what was programmed into our neurology at a very young age, probably before age 9. Correct me, please. You have to check everything I say because I'm just spouting off what I know, and what I know can be wrong. But I have observed adult children. We react to things that we shouldn't react to. And we don't seem to be able to respond to some things that would be really good for us. I think the value system that is in your astrology chart, it's earthy. It's your earth. It's Taurus. It's the second house ruled by Venus. What gives you a sense of beauty, of comfort, of everybody on the planet wants the same thing. How we get it or interpret it is different. We want health. We want some sort of wealth, having our needs met. We want comfort and to get along with ourselves and others. Maybe we can't do any of that. God bless you. But all of this disruption is the times that we're in. We came here to live through this. And our value system is reflected in media as a collective of a country, as you personally. So there are different levels of those values. But the value is, for me, what can I count on when I'm having wackadoodle thoughts, when I'm having a shitty day, when I'm this or when I'm that? And you're going to have that stuff happen. You are. The difference is how we deal with it when it does. And if we practice that enough, when I do that, my life goes better. Oh, I know what that is. I know how to do that. And this how I dealt with it before. So I will try that now. My value systems, I was fortunate, I think. My parents were as conscious as they could be. They were loving, they stayed together. I was raised in a beautiful part of Alabama. And I had food, shelter, clothing. People got along. There wasn't addiction in my family like that. Yeah, they had martinis at 5 in the afternoon. That can be an addiction, but there wasn't drunkenness, drug addiction. So I was allowed to grow and evolve. My value system developed from my childhood. What is yours? What can you count on that was precious to you? What'd you do as a kid? Go play outside. Tom and I were just talking about this. Back in the 50s, when Mama would say, go play outside, I would go outside. She knew I'd be in the woods. How can you go play outside if you're living in an inner city? Come on. So your value system may be different, but you have to count on something. Even kids will do the most amazing thing. If they're living in just a shithole of a place, they will find something magical and beautiful, maybe in a corner of an apartment, and they'll set up a fairyland, or they'll do something. And that's the preciousness of childhood. We all have that within us. And that's the fourth step in recovery. And then the 10th step, after you've done that and you have reviewed and renewed, I'm saying that very lackadaisically, but the value systems are what can you count on, what's precious to you? Your health, your religion, spirituality, your finances. How you treat your money is how you're going to treat other people, and vice versa. I think I've observed. And when somebody says, oh, I don't need it, well, try living without it. It's just a fact of life. I think it's our attachment to things that bother us. But the value system, that's a good attachment. I think I was raised by spirituality. I count on that. I was in the woods all the time. I count on that. So how does that feel to you when you think about what is your value system?
There's sometimes some values that might be, uh, from our childhood that can be detrimental to ourselves, that we're scared to shift because we're attached to.
Oh, count on it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the good, the bad, the ugly, the perfect, the imperfect. It's all happening at one time. And that's what recovery is about. That when we recover ourselves as an adult, wait a minute, why am I doing that? Well, I did it rotely. I did it automatically because I really haven't given thought to it. Sometimes that can protect you and sometimes it can destroy you. But you're right. We all have things from our childhood or our behaviors or adults around us that is icky. It just doesn't feel right. And that's a lot of the conflict I think that we have as adult children, where we grow up and we're talking with the little inner child that lives in our probably our third chakra. And she is kicking and screaming because we're not listening. So you don't want a 4-year old to run your life, but we do need our needs met.
Can be an interesting um, thin line between whether something's beneficial or if we're looking at it a certain way. I think of something like a value of modesty where somebody might have rebelled against that as they were young because they wanted to do what they wanted to do, and then they might come back to that value as they get older and realize that it wasn't about control, it was about self-respect or something.
That's very well put. And I think rebellion is going against mom and dad said do this, so I'm going to do the opposite. But I think modesty is a wonderful topic because it is very culturally specific. It has to do with how do you protect the largest organ on your body, which is your skin. How do you protect that? Now, when I was growing up, Tom and I talk about that. It's hysterical. If I had gone out with a sport bra and shorts, they'd have yanked me in so fast. Are you kidding? And now it's accepted. You can wear that. You can do that in certain places. I have my value system. I wouldn't do it because I'm 73 years old. Who wants to see that? But I think your modesty is your system of looking at yourself saying, how exposed do I want to be to the outer world? And when you're testing, when you're going through the rebelling stage, we're going to try all kind of wackadoodle stuff. But it's something that's very culturally specific. In the Muslim world, they have definite rules and laws. In Hinduism, there are rules and laws. In Americanism, in Canadianism, French, it's different and it's culturally specific. And can it cause problems when you go somewhere else? Oh, yeah. You can pretty much spot an American walking down the Champs-Élysées in France. It's pretty easy to see us there. So it's something that you're going to have to decide on your own. I know that the age I am, I think older women look better covered, younger women look better showing some skin. You look good. We use what we have, whatever age, we use what we have. And what we have is part of our value system. I had a gal friend. She had the prettiest legs of any girl I ever saw in my life. Drag queens have the most gorgeous legs, but she had exquisite legs. So she would wear skirts a little shorter. I'd look like a walrus in that. It's ridiculous. That wasn't for me, but she could do that. And I don't know, I haven't seen her in 50 years, but she can probably still do that. So we use what we have. But using what we have, we will get feedback when we go in public. So it's a very sticky wicket, and we'll usually figure that out by the time we're in our 20s and 30s, what works and what doesn't. Maybe not. I don't know.
It's curious to see how it changes over time and how there are so many differences in cultures, but perhaps there are some common denominators when it comes to values that we can all admittedly share as humans.
I think kindness. Remember that book? What was it? Everything I learned in kindergarten. It's about kindness and having some sort of humility, some sort of modesty to where we're not shouting out to the world, look at me all the time. Because when we
What do
do
you
that,
mean by humility?
humility is to be able to step back and say, excuse me, this is me. This is not me. I don't have a dog in that fight. In the I Ching, there is a diagram. What do you call those? Called the marrying maiden. It's lovely. And it says, look, before you were married, you're going to do this. And after, you're going to have to pull it in a little bit. In the Lakota tradition, my Hunka family on the reservation, before you're married, girls can wear their hair down. And sometimes after their first moon, they start doing this, but they will wear their hair in braids and pulled back. And you don't cut your hair unless somebody dies. So there's rules about that. But modesty has to do with how do you react in your culture, and your humility is whether or not you can do it. Whether or not you can do it. And there's a lot to be said about that, I think. These days, oh my God, Hollywood is not humble. You don't know that about somebody. Humility and modesty are rather personal. But we do enact that in the world. And when you see real humility in people, you know it and you recognize it. It's kindness. And it's saying, you know, I can't go there or I won't go there, but I'm going to pull back and possibly be silent. And there is a dignity in silence and be able to pull back and not have to put ourselves out front to join with others. How do we do that? There's a value system. Supposedly, the Piscean age that ended about it went out in 1625 and started coming, the new age started coming in 1675. We've been in it since then with all this turmoil. Now we are fully in the Aquarian age, but many of us are still living with old values of separatism. I think all these separate cars, that's part of the Piscean age. I don't know. But supposedly, and I like this theory, that we take now what we learned, our value system and our way of treating ourselves. We take that into the group now. And how cool to be able to sit in a group, let's just say 6 people. Each one of those people is authentic, being themselves. He's being himself, she's being herself. And then you take the values of each person and where do you meet to collaborate? That's the ideal. And that's wonderful when we can do that. And that takes humility too. Humility says, I don't have to be the smartest one in the room, the biggest dog, because everything that's up is going to go down. So to be, and this lesson came to me late in life, and I don't always get it right, but to be able to step back and go, there by the grace of God go I. You know, I want to humble myself to this situation. I'm going to sit and wait and let it play out a little bit at least, rather than immediately reacting. When I do that, my life goes better. When I don't, I'm a mess.
It's relatable. That's so relatable, especially the mess part. And I think a lot of people have a hard time doing that step back thing because we do make a lot of stuff all about us. I mean, we're living our lives. But that beautiful idea of the collaboration where everybody is authentic and nobody's trying to one up the other person. What a marvelous future indeed.
Indeed, it is. It's calm and it's kind. And whoever is the calmest and the kindness will be remembered. And those people also will probably have more to say that is valuable, that is value system, see valuable, when all the noise and the nervousness has abated. Now, we play both roles. Everything's happening at once. We have it all inside of us. Let me tell you that for me to sit there, you think the mind isn't going, no, 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 no. Sometimes it is. But the calmer I am, and I think this can happen in older age, where I am 73, I am not who I was. And so I don't have to enact certain behaviors. And that is a certain freedom. And each age you will find your value system can stay the same, but how you enact it may be a little different.
Speaking on that is so crucial. A lot of times we seem myself as we age, we don't want to let go of how we were, how we thought, or what we believed in the past. We don't want to allow for that progression.
Oh, I know that one so easily. But see, that's Taurus. Taurus is my favorite sign in the whole world. Like, Taurus feeds me information. I have Venus and Taurus in the second house, sitting all by itself, unafflicted. Thank you, God. I got one thing in my chart that's not going to try to destroy me and eat me for lunch. So Taurus says, why are they stubborn? Taurus natives are stubborn. They are the immovable object. They are the taproot. And you may get frustrated with them. They will not budge. Why? They're not going to give up the values they have already gained. They are an earth sign. They're not going to do that until they see a path forward. That is brilliant. That's so opposite from my sun sign of Aries of just barrel through the wall and go, that didn't hurt. So Taurus is, and Taurus many times will have a little space in between their front teeth like that. Why? I don't know. They just do. My husband has a Taurus moon. He can be the most grounded, calm, nurturing, loving sign there is. One of his sons is a Taurus sun sign. What a loving human being. So I learned from that.
What I wonder how we can get better at learning from each other in that way.
Oh, you know, I think this patience thing is part of it. I think there's a process to that. I've noticed with myself that I will ask a question. Why is this or that? How can that person do that? I like how they did that. And that'll start the maybe silent rumination of how can we fit that into our life. That's why it's so cool to be calm and kind and nurturing in public, because you never know who you're going to affect. You never know. That said, there are times where you might need to be a raving idiot, and that's the most positive thing to do. So it's a case by case thing. But to learn from others is precious. We do need others. We learn from others. That's our culture. That's our communication. And most of it is silent. I think everything's communicating all the time. Everything, from the tiniest atomic structure to this bookshelf behind me to anything organic. But it's not speaking English or your language. It's a silent communication. And I forget what the statistics are, but most things, most communications are silent. And we're good at that inner senses. We pick stuff up. And sometimes then that floats to surface. And we can enact that in our communications with ourselves or others. I think that's awesome. I love thinking about that.
It's incredible. How do we get better at hearing?
You're asking me that? Oh, God. Well, are we listening?
Probably not.
Probably not. I know that. Spirit tells me that I listen very well. But with other people, I think most of the time what we do, and I'm guilty of this comically, we're planning what we're going to say next. Why? We don't always do that. But when we listen to other people, usually we have an opinion formed already. We have prejudged it. We know what we're going to say, and we just can't wait to say it. It's part of human nature. Now, how I was raised down south in the 50s, the goddesses that raised me, these goddess black women, they would do something called gumbo yaya. And let me tell you, we'd all be sitting in the kitchen, and I would be like 5 or 6, and I'm under the table, untying people's shoes and doing stuff, and they're shelling peas, dropping them. Everybody's talking at the same time. Everybody is. interruption. There's no interruption. Everybody's talking. Somehow, something comes of that. You really understand what people are, but it's loud and it's cacophony. It drives my husband crazy. I'll still do that. You're interrupting me. No, I'm not interrupting you. Like I'm doing now. I'm going, oh, I got this idea. I'm this or that. I'm very fiery. He's very calm. Do we get along? Yeah, pretty much we do because we've learned what the other one does. But to communicate your value system, we press that onto other people. We demand that other people listen to us first. And we're not really hearing them. When we do, what if we did that? There are people who are trained to do that. Negotiators are trained to do that. They're probably not a fire sign in their chart. They're probably a Libra. God knows what they are. I'm not good at it. So I have to shut up a lot. I have all these little bites in my tongue to bite my tongue. Shut up, Soli. Sit on your hands and do not talk. I'm better at it. Believe I'm better. My husband's not here, so I can get away with that. He's at the airport picking up our grandson. He's about to be here for 3 weeks, 9 years old. Now, you talk about talking. Oh my God. It takes 2 days to acclimate to that energy field. But that's what we do with other people. We acclimate, don't we? If Aunt Betty and Uncle Bob come to visit and they're going to be there for 3 or 4 days, you have to acclimate to each other's energy fields. So perhaps if we're trying to listen better, maybe walk a little bit in their shoes. What are they trying to say? I'm not good at it. Clearly, I'm not good at it.
It's really helpful. And admitting you're not good at it, it helps in the sense that everyone really struggles with that from time to time, I think. We forget what everybody else is going through, and we're too worried about our own energy, what that energy is doing to us, and what, all the other people are, how they're affecting us, instead of really thinking about the collective.
Oh, it's hugely complicated. It's huge. And once again, I've mentioned this a couple of times in radio or podcasts here that my favorite bumper sticker that I saw in Olympia 30 years ago, all it said was others. Never forgotten it. Others. When we get into that energy field, I think we get into the best explanation I can find for what I feel with that is there's a research study done on 30 or 40 nuns, and these are prayer warriors. I know a couple people like that. I'm not them. They are prayer warriors. I'm Catholic. So when they would pray, their brain didn't fire on them. There was no personal. It was gone. That blew me away. So when we're focused on others, really, what are we doing? We're not thinking, how does my hair look? Do I look fat in these pants? Do they like what this tastes, but how it tastes because it took me too long to make it and I'm resentful? That's gone. When our brain is focused on this love and this dignity of the other, there by the grace of God go, what can I do, Lord, to serve this day? What can I do? Just put me where you need me. And then we have to wait. But that's the dignity of that. And that is a precious thing. What we forget is that these brains are what holds time. We are programmed with a brain that says you are going to experience things sequentially. Now, there are times that we aren't in time. If you're playing with your kids, you know what those times are like. And that's the real world, so to speak. Can we live in that? Well, I can't get to a doctor's appointment if I'm constantly in woo-woo land, which I am a lot. So you got to balance it. It's not easy. It's just not. But I think what you said about how do we learn to hear others is we really have to listen.
Yeah, it really does seem as simple and difficult as that. On one hand, just listening and thinking of others and serving others and not being so self-minded, but on the other hand, we are ourselves. So it's very delicate balance, and I think we need a lot of times we need people to put it, or we need examples of like, look at what that person's doing. So maybe I can try just a little bit.
Yeah, we learn a lot by other people's idiotic behavior too, or they learn by idiotic behavior. Everybody's got a phone these days. Oh my God, I'm so glad we didn't have these phones when I was a teenager. Oh, it'd still be recorded. I don't want anybody to know what a fool. So we do learn from others. And when we see others messing up, how do we react? It depends. How much do we like them? How much do we don't? You're not going to like everybody. You cannot reach that point. Not at the evolution that we are, but we can be a little more reticent and tolerant, I think. When I do that, my life goes better. God knows.
That's so true. And then when it doesn't happen, we fall down in misery and upset for way too long. Or we do if it's talking about me.
Oh yeah, and you and I both discussed we both had a couple of icky days this past week. The nervous systems right now are hugely affected. Thoughts, electromagnetism of thoughts. We're being bombarded all the time. We do well with it. We get help from spirit, the space brothers, the masters, whatever. But we are being bombarded all the time with frequencies, electromagnetism, magnetism from the earth, electricity here, and here we are in the middle going, ah. So I think we do pretty well. And we forget to say that I really am doing pretty well. I came here in this life to experience the miracle and the horror of the internet, of YouTube, Facebook, whatever you want to say it. We came here to experience that. Can we get away from it? A certain extent, but it's part of the ideogram of what this age will be remembered at. And so to have some dignity in that, the only way to have dignity maneuvering all those things is through our value system and to love and to feel some love. And what do I mean by that? That's such a vague thing. Love. I mean, what is that? Where you are calm and you are able to feel and not just react. A lot of times it's the brain just reaction and our astral emotional body just reacting. But that calmness and that kindness and I like what Chase Hughes says about it. Y'all know I love his theories and what he does. But he said, move slowly. I tried that in the store the other day. I said, I am going to purposefully push my little cart and move about half the speed I did. And you know what it did? It calmed my brain. And then part of me said, you're acting like an old lady. Well, you are an old lady. So we will sabotage ourselves by having this red letter A on our forehead, where we think everybody's seeing that I'm doing this or that. We do that too. So what? Big deal. We do both. You catch yourself and laugh about it. But there's something to be said about what Chase says is true, that to calm the self and to physically move more slowly, it calms other people. It's beautiful. I love doing that. When I remember to do it, my husband's always done that with me. He'll go into his special forces medic brain, which is doctor in the military. He's brilliant. I admire him so much. You can see him say, oh, I cut my finger. I can see him go just into that space. I can't go there. I'm like, where is he? He's looking, he's assessing, and he always says, treat the symptoms. Now, what if we treated the symptoms about our daily life? I thought, wow, how would I do that? Treat the symptoms. In other words, I'm getting all jacked up because this or that. I've got to repot all these plants. My grandson's coming. I've got 6 loads of laundry to do. I've got to get that barbecue sauce out of the freezer. Da 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 da. Da. The sequentiality of things that we are pressed to do. What if I just calm myself down? What are the symptoms? The symptoms are activated stress. Where did I learn that? From mom. Mom was great at that. She had a diagnosis of obsessive compulsive disorder. You put down your plate, she's grabbing it, and it's done. We called the living room area the Engel Museum. It was spotless, it was beautiful. But at an early age, my brain said it's safe to do that. So if I catch myself now and go, wait a minute, I'm doing mama. So if I catch myself, slow myself down, that's the symptom I'm wanting to treat. Does that make sense? Kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, that's so comforting to think of treating the symptoms of our daily life. Wow, that's a big one because often we're so caught up, like you talked about, I have to do this, I have to do this, I'm upset about that, and it's all external, and we're not focused on why. If you could only tackle one thing at a time, why is the stress level going up? Why are these symptoms happening? That's brilliant.
Well, it's what they do, what he was taught when he was in school to be a medic, that you observe, you see, and you treat the physical. I can't do surgeries like he did. I don't have that kind of I'm empath. I empath on things. That's not my job. But to take that one statement and say, by treating the symptoms, what are we doing? We're observing or listening or touching or something. It's the physical symptom. It's the physical senses that get us all jacked up, right? We have all this mental stuff, and then the physicality of it starts building up. It backs up like it's a dam and the water is going to pour over. So I'm practicing that these days. I'm practicing why I get so much attention out of being a 14-year-old drag queen at times. And my husband's laughing or he's just being calm. But I learned that from mama. So when I catch myself, I can calm myself down. When I do. One of these days I'm gonna get him on here and he'll be sitting there going, let me tell you the real stuff.
I
We'll
love to
have
hear
both
it.
our
That's great.
husbands on this. And they're like, well, yeah, they say this, but here's what it really is.
Exactly. She's crazy. She's irrational.
Oh my
What
God.
she's talking
Well,
about.
that's the thing. We're females. We are emotional. We're supposed to be. But we can emote without having it ruin our day. That's what we learn to do. That's our challenge. And men feel through us most of the time. And we feel their stuff for them and demonstrate it. Isn't that cool?
That is very cool. Well, once you understand that, especially in families, sometimes flow a little better. And it's also another reminder of how beautifully collaborative our existence is.
Oh, it is. It's a dance. And we may be listening to different music doing the same dance, and we wondered why other people aren't joining in. Well, we will be drawn to what is similar to us. Your value system will draw you to other people who believe pretty much in the same way. Tom and I have found that our friends, we have several couples, along with our personal. That's Thomas, his guy friends. That's Zoe, that's her gal friends. They really don't touch. There's no energy field. But the ones that we have together, they were raised pretty much in the same way, which is very interesting. And they have political or religious beliefs that at least don't blow up in front of each other. I mean, it's either side, you can do that these days. But you will find energy fields of comfort and you will share values in that way. I think that's pretty cool.
Yes, and perhaps that's the definition of a life well lived or to steps towards it.
I love that statement, a life well lived. I see that every now and then I like to read the Montana obituaries for the Western Montana. The reason is they can be a half a page long. And this is old Montana. This person had a life well lived. He was a fourth generation Montanan. He was born in 1931. And he did this, he did that. And it's a whole biography. And it's fascinating to me. It is fascinating and it's beautiful. And you will see grace in those things, and you will see they were loved and they loved back and they created something to leave when they were gone. Their value system was to give and to receive. And that's what we want from our value system. When we give, we also need to receive too. Now, I don't mean you're taking care of a sick parent or a child. That's not it. You know what I mean by that. That we want reciprocity in our friendships. And I came late to life in this because I was autistic and I was working on interdimensional physics. How many girls did that? I didn't know any. And so I came late to life when Tom and I moved to Montana. It calmed me to where I allowed that in more. And so I was able to give and receive in a warmer, calmer way. Sometimes it takes time.
Yeah, there's so much grace in that allowing and waiting for the right time and place.
Oh, that waiting is can be crazy. I know y'all laugh when I say spirit will say, Zoe, just sit on your hands. Do not move. A lot of times your impatience is because you see what's possible and it's not happening. And it will
Yeah.
also feed into your astrology chart. How much fire do you have in your chart or air? Those things are going to be more impatient. You know, earth and water will be a little calmer. I don't know. We're all insane anyway. But I think the waiting and the peace of mind that comes from spirit saying, I got it. I heard what you wanted. Now let us build that on the other side and let's prepare you to receive that. Because as it is now, Zoli, you couldn't do what we are preparing for you to do. Oh,
Oof.
well, you see, it's that old thing the teacher's going to be quiet while you're being tested. But sometimes the teacher is quiet because they're holding something precious to you. I saw this cartoon once, and it's the Master Jesus, and he's got his hands behind his back, and he has a teddy bear he's holding. And there's a little girl in front of him who's standing and just she's crying and she's holding this old worn out teddy bear and I can't give it to you. I can't give it to you. So
Hmm.
he had a new life for that teddy bear. He had a new life for her. But that's can also be a Taurean thing. I don't want to give up what I've earned. So how do we do that? Faith and trust, dignity, value system, all the astrology chime. They all have beauty and dumbness in all of them. We're all insane.
So we need to hear it on repeat. It seems, in order to get and over again in life, we need these constant reminders.
Oh, we get so threatened, don't we? And then we react and then we have to go back and fix that. And the thing with the internet, with these phones and these cameras, once it's out there, it's forever. So I think we'll reach a point that we'll be more forgiving. Hopefully, we'll see there by the grace of God go, there it is. And the way things are these days are different than how I grew up. The value systems have shifted. We're in a time of huge disruption. We're in a time of turmoil. This will be called, in the future, they'll call this the barbaric age. We don't even realize it. But we're here now and we have an opportunity to create some dignity, some peace of mind, and to deposit something into the energy field of your public arena that will make a difference. Raising children, what bigger thing is that? Talk about putting something into the public arena. You have three sons. Oh my God. You do the best you can. And we are just, it's just part of human nature that we are so afraid of being judged because we judge others. We just do. We're not going to stop. I think we can catch ourselves going, well, that's silly. I find I can catch myself more these days when I was out this morning trying to, oh, it's Montana. You don't plant tomatoes up in remote Montana. I go get these big tomato plants, 4th of July usually, and put them out. I'm repotting those and they're falling down because the pot's too big. And I yell, Tom comes out and help me. Once he comes out, I get calm because of who he is. I trust him and I love him and he calms me and I will energize him and he knows I love him. So this is what the we play on each other and you can breathe into that. You can feel the dignity of what your value system is with people you love. And it can get bigger and it can spread out. That's what your community is. That's what your country is. That's what your world is. And we're headed for an absolutely exquisite world. You know, Craig Hamilton Parker, I love his work. He is on YouTube. He's British. He lives outside of London. He's a psychic medium. He just put out, y'all should check this out. I never say this, but it's very important that we are headed towards divinity. And I think he's addressing Maitreya in his own way. Craig Hamilton Parker. He and Jane, they're absolutely delightful. Reasonable. He is level-headed, but he's a psychic medium. He gets stuff that happens. It's brilliant. I can't do that. You know, there's another gal, Rainbow Mystic. She is a channel. She is a real channel. She's in Australia. And she channels Princess Diana. Does she really do that? I don't know. Sounds pretty realistic. But she has a skill. So where are your skills? They're expressing their values. And do people criticize them? I'm sure they do care. They're going to do their life and their work and have dignity. And that is what your value system is. It's hugely important. It's huge.
Sounds like the value system is in a way what connects you to divinity or what keeps you aligned with the spiritual.
That's a good way of putting it. I don't know. I think that value system really sits right there in Taurus. You know, where is that in your chart? Or maybe your earth signs. I don't know. I just ignorantly look at it like that. But your value is what you love. What can you count on? You know, what is when you deal with the physical world, how do you add spirit to that? That's putting spiritual values into the physical world and vice versa. So we come here to spiritualize matter. We come here to bring the dignity of love and respect into the physical world. And these bodies, these are physical. We live in this. It's pretty cool.
It's a miracle.
It is a miracle. It is. And to treat ourselves like we're our beloved. You are your beloved. You are the first relationship you ever had is with yourself. And when you take your last breath, you will have had a life hopefully well lived to where you had a relationship, first of all, with you. And there's nothing selfish or self-centered about it. It's self-focused so that when you live fully in that, you can express that to the outer world, to the others.
There's so much calm comfort in that. It really makes me feel like there's hope for humanity if we can all start being our own beloved first.
There's hope for humanity. You know, what Maitreya says about the day of declaration, this already happened in the higher realms. It's filtering down from the spiritual, the mental, the astral, and it's coming. It's coming a lot later than we thought because of effects of the icky ones. And I don't know why, I'm not him. But there is a magnificent world that is not only coming, but is here right now. We can't always see it or feel it, but it's up to each one of us to find a joy muffin, some piece of hope that we know nobody can take from us, that lives inside of you. Your soul lives in your left hand heart, your etheric heart right here. Nobody can take that away. And that's where your values come from. That's your real thing. So when you express who you are and why you are, and you sit in that, other people will feel that. And that's bliss. Nobody can take it from you.
Thank you, Zoli. The encouragement you bring and just the beauty and joy of our discussion always surrounds me with positive energy.
Oh, well, maybe I need to hear it too. Maybe I do. I love this. I love talking to y'all. I don't know who you are, but I send love and blessings to all of you. Thank you, Linda. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.